So you decided to play Tights and Fights in Tight Spaces, or you're considering purchasing it. Well, good for you, because today I'm going to be covering the game from the basics to gameplay to my review of it as a whole. It'll all be here. So, a quick overview. In Tight Spaces, you play a secret agent with the most powerful shove in the world, tasked with taking out secret agencies. It is a strategy roguelike game where you go from stage to stage killing baddies, meeting stage objectives, and getting to the end of the chapter to start a new one, till you get to the very last big bad, all while building your own deck and gaining your own random attributes, making each run unique. Okay, to start off, let's get to the main subject we're all here for, the violence. This game is all about fighting, and because of that, the game can be decently gory at times. Granted, not blowing someone's skull off gory, but it's still pretty bloody. You can turn off the blood, by the way, but why the hell would you do that? You can inflict violence in the forms of many things, ranging from fists to feet to guns, then tables or walls and ledges. And knives, of course. This makes for some very funny deaths that I adore seeing over and over, so if you're here for that, congrats! But in order to inflict violence, you have to follow certain rules with certain cards, like distance, energy, and combo. So it's pretty good at violence, and this also applies to enemies too. They all have their own unique playstyle, besides the goons of course, that all have their own weapon playstyle, and some even have their own unique traits, making up for a good variety of enemies. Plus, enemies can hit each other too, which makes things even more fun. But how's the... Okay, I want you to take a quick look at this clip. Pretty cool, yeah? Okay, now let's go to the actual game itself. Okay, pretty slow, but that's actually what this game wants you to do. It needs you to think properly about how it flows. This game has two core fighting mechanics. The first part, the violence, and combo. We've already discussed the first part, so it's pretty straightforward. Kill baddies and move on. But with combo, you have to stack combo. In order to do that, you attack the enemy. Now, you might be thinking, what's combo used for? And that's to fucking roundhouse kick people! Jesus Christ. It can also be used for other things too, like healing yourself or whatever, face slamming someone into the table. Not important. Roundhouse kicking is really cool. Everything else is kind of lame. Only downside to using combo is the fact that sometimes it makes all the combo wear off, or movement can also make the combo count down. Meaning you have to be very, very precise with your actions, and whether you want to move first, attack first, or use a different sort of card. Actually, speaking of roundhouse kicks, we need to go to the... So, I know gameplay mechanics are very similar, but I didn't know what else to name this section, so sue me. Anyways, here I'll talk about what makes this game a roguelike. Starting off, there are base decks that you can choose from, and new ones are unlocked each time as you beat the big bad up to a certain point. I don't really remember when. All these decks have their own cards, which can also be gained from winning levels, getting them from shops, or random events, which are only a few locations, with the last one being the hospital, which are all random areas you can land on when you're choosing your next move. Along with that, killing each chapter's final baddie gets you an attribute of your choice. Be careful though, because you can only have a certain amount of attributes, so
sacrifices are necessary.
And of course, everything previously mentioned, with a few exceptions, have been randomized. And of course you can change the difficulty too, and there's a lot to choose from. And I don't know if you didn't know, but I'm a very cool, epic, radical man, dude. So I only choose the hardest ones. Wait. But that includes the enemies too, which all have their own unique playstyle and can be completely randomized from level to level, getting certain enemies from previous chapters that you have just played. And this gives a bit more variety to the game, even though it's a roguelike, which can tend to get pretty repetitive over time. Okay, lastly, we're going to... Overall, this is a very fun and gory game. It's a solid time. The story is a bit lacking with how straightforward it is, so it gets an 8.5 out of 10. I recommend it. Also has dark mode, please be sure to use it for the love of God.